only for us. It's not. I'm not going to. It's not going to be public, so it's fine. Um, and this is sort of like I'm looking around the room. So for me, it's a room. For me, it's like we're together, even though we're at different countries and time zones and all that. And like I said, the beginning of tonight's session, some of us, uh, some of us have been, together for a couple of years. Some joined last year with the beginning of the coronavirus. Some a couple of months ago. It doesn't matter. We all, we're a part of that. Um, and I really want to talk a little bit about our community today, because we're doing a lot of learning together. And I'm taking this opportunity to thank our amazing members who are also now have become teachers, Shayna and Eben and Nathaniel and Jordan and Haim Yosef Lopez, who are all teaching, and I know that we will have more classes coming on. Um, so I want to talk a little bit about what Torah ve'ahava is. What is it that we're doing, right? Um, so first, I'll tell you about the how Torah ve'ahava was born, right? So the truly the concept of what we're doing in Torah ve'ahava has been in my mind, I think, since I was a teenager, because I grew up under the tutelage of my grandfather, alav shalom, Hacham Sholftaya, who was an amazing person. He was a philosopher, a poet, very sensitive person, and we had long and deep conversations about everything. And my grandfather used to take me to different synagogues in Yerushalayim. He had a synagogue. He actually built a synagogue called Minhat Yudah, is still active. Our member Menashe Sasson, who now made Aliyah, lives in Yerushalayim, went to visit him, to my brother, not my grandfather passed away. He went to visit my brother there. But my grandfather used on Shabbat to say, okay, Haim, today we're going to go to the Kotel. And we would walk and pray at the Kotel. And then he would say, today we're going to pray in a synagogue called Tzuf Dvash of the Moroccan community down the street. Or today we're going to the Ashkenazi Shtibel, Zichron Moshe. He says, and I would say, why we're doing that? He says, because you have to know other people. You have to know other traditions. This, it was done. It was his 1972, 1973 in Israel. My grandfather would take me to all those different synagogues, and uh, and so that was one thing that he taught me. The other thing that he taught me was, when indirectly, a lot of things I learned from indirectly. Another important thing that I learned from him is the joy of Judaism. He taught me, and in certain periods of my life, it wasn't clear that this is the teaching, of Judaism, because I've run into different schools of thought. I learned from him that Judaism is a way of life that makes you joyous, that makes you happy. Two examples that are extremely important to me. One was Friday night. That is a little bit like our Kabbalat Shabbat now. Friday night, when it was like this lucky Shabbat that we went to eat by my grandfather. Uh, my grandfather lost his wife when they were in their 40s, and he never married again. So he lived with my aunt and her husband, and we would go to their house and have Friday night dinner, or he would come to our house and eat with us. And whenever he came, it was a celebration. Why? Because and any of you who spent Shabbat either with like from people, or that's how you grew up, or that's how they taught you to do, right? You know that moment when they stop the meal or they stop the discussion and say, okay, let us say Dvar Torah, right? Someone has to speak about the parasha, someone has to give like a little talk. You know that moment? Have you been in households like that, when this is like the official okay, now we talk about the parasha, now we say halacha, right? uh Never happened when my grandfather was around. Never. And not that he wasn't a learned man, he was a learned man, and we always had discussions, but it was not declared officially. He didn't see the need to say, now we stop, now we say Dvar Torah, because whatever we spoke about was engaging and was part of our. Uh, so for him, if he spoke about what the children did during the week in school and what new things we've learned, that was Devar Torah, because the Torah wants us to be joyous on Shabbat. So if right now he's engaged in making the family happy, that's Devar Torah. And then at the end of the meal, he would say, "Okay, now now I want Erev Bidur, Erev Bidur, like entertainment night, or what you call, like, a talent show, right?" So, uh, but my grandfather had two daughters, my mother and her sister who had children, and my uncle who didn't have children. So we were like five, six children at home when he would say that, and we would do songs and mime and skits and jokes, and then we would sing songs, just like the Bet Knesset. He would want to hear songs piyutim from all traditions. We would sing Yemenite and Kurdish and Iraqi and Ashkenazi songs, uh, and he would teach us his traditional Bavli melodies. Uh, and that's taught me that you could have Shabbat and have joy on Shabbat, just being with your family and connecting to them. And on Pesach, that was the second example. Uh, on Pesach, the uh, the way he ran the seder was very, very comfortable, like very much at ease. We would ask, uh, and by the way, I'm going to do a series of classes on the. I downloaded the OU Pesach guide, and I'm going to break it to pieces. I promise you. Because like one of the first pages is a diagram of how much matzah you should eat and how much mawich. Basically, I'm supposed to put my matzah on the page to measure it. Who are those people? What is going on here, right? What is the Moshe Rabbeinu baked matzah in a millimetric oven? Okay, so we're going to do that. But my grandfather was like, we asked him, how much matzah do we eat? He said, as much as you want. How much wine should I drink? As much as you can, and grape juice. And the seder was about the singing together, the story. So this is Torah V'Ahava for me, something that I carried with me since childhood. I went on to school, and then my rabbis, I think I told you, sent me to a black hat yeshiva, and then when I went to a kollel, and then I went to the army, and then I decided I need to do something with my learning because that's what my grandfather taught me, and I ended up in Colombia, and always I thought of how do I make Judaism not just accessible but enjoyable, something that people feel excited about. And I always ran into walls of the establishment, sometimes inside my own synagogue. The board of my synagogue would say, "No, that's not what we do. Like, that's not mainstream orthodoxy, right?" And like, are you Orthodox? I asked the board, "Are you Orthodox?" No, but we wanted to look Orthodox, right? Uh, so, uh, so about 7 years ago, I decided that uh, I want, I've been working for so long with communities in that manner, and that I want to be to do what I want. This thing that really brings um, makes people understand the joy of Judaism. So I started a nonprofit so I could publish and write and teach and all that. And my friend who worked with me on doing this is, how are we going to call it, right? Branding is a major issue. What names are you going to use? And one of the names that was floating was Sephardic University. I actually own the website called the domain name called Sephardic U. Uh, for Sephardic University, I just got a message from GoDaddy that it's worth $1,000 now, so maybe I'll keep it. Uh, I have Sephardic U. I have different website that I saved. But eventually, I told my friend, you know what? When I think of what I want to do, It's Torah ve'ava. It's the worst name ever. You should know. It's the worst name ever in terms of websites and search engine. In terms of writing a check or whatever it is, like what is the name Torah ve'ava? How do you spell it? How say it again? Torah ve'ava. What is going on here, right? People are like, why did you choose that name? And how do you write it? Torah, no H, ve'ahava, Vehava. How many A's, right? We all know the problem. But I, I chose the name because I felt this is what it's all about. If I want to distill it into two words, it's Torah ve'ahava. And in case maybe people didn't notice, I'll share with you the logo. 1 second, instead of going. 1 second. I have it. Where's my box here? Oh, yeah. I'll do it this way instead of sharing the screen because I want to see all of you. So my daughter designed the logo of Torah ve'ava, and she said, "What do you want?" And I had the idea. I said, "This way, I want to have a logo where you could see. You see that? I want to have a heart. You see the heart, obviously, but I also want to have the tablets of the law. You see them, the Hot Abrit. But
Yep.
I also want to have two people looking at each other. You see that the light blue is the color and the dark blue is the face.
Wow.
So this is Torah ve'ava. It has all of these things. We look at each other, we see each other. There's love and there's study of Torah. So that name stuck. That's what we're doing. So uh, for the first couple of years, I was uh, so for the first couple of years, I was just writing halachot and sending them out. And people will say, why are you? Who needs those halachot? Who needs those halachot? So I'll tell you like interesting story with someone who wrote to me that. That was about 6 years ago, and someone in Brooklyn, where I was a rabbi of a shul, I don't know what I wrote about. I wrote about that you could ride bicycle on Shabbat and you could play ball on Shabbat and you should shovel, not just can shovel, but you have to shovel snow on Shabbat and put ice, salt on it because otherwise people would fall. And that you could eat, certain things without hechsher. And someone came to me and said, why are you writing those things? What's the point? Why are you going against the establishment? I said, I'm not doing it for you. You do whatever you want. I'm not doing it for you. If you need it, you let me know. But there are people who need it. You say, no, nobody needs that. I said, yeah, there are people who need it, but you just don't know them. You know the people around you live in a bubble. Okay, years passed. 6 months ago, I got a phone call from a rabbi in Israel. And maybe I told you some of you this story when it happened. I got a phone call from a rabbi in Israel. He said, I have a friend who needs help. He uh, he is a Kohen, and his son wants to marry someone who might be divorced or a convert. I don't know exactly. I don't remember the details. He said he called several rabbis in Israel, and one rabbi told him that it's okay to do what he wants to do, but he would not give it to him in writing. So he has no other resource, and I said maybe he should talk to you. So he said, yeah, you could refer him to me. Who's the guy? He gives me the name. So okay, I know who this guy is. So he calls me and we talk about his case, and I didn't say anything. And then he says, Rabbi, maybe you don't remember, but years ago we had a conversation about the things you write. I said, no, I remember exactly. You asked me, why do I write the rulings that I write? And I told you because people need them. And you said people don't need them, and now you need it. You know, it was amazing. Like it took 6 years. I remember those conversations. Uh, so that was the beginning. I was teaching online at the time, and I started writing, and through the writing, people wanted to learn more. And thank God, I had a position as a pulpit rabbi, working with my community, and in my wee hours, late at night, early in the morning, I would write and I would teach and all that. And then, wow, was now 6 years ago. Actually, I started this thing. Yeah, so 6 years ago, I started what I said, what promised to myself would be my last pulpit, because I've seen what the community could do to a rabbi. Um, my wife put a lot of pressure on me to be again to take a position. I said, okay, but that's the last one. I'm not doing it again. So from the very beginning, I said I'm going to build this Torah ve'ava to be my main focus, and this is what I'm going to do in life. So after 3 years with that community, I said that's it. This is my exit strategy. I'm going to rely on that. My wife was supportive. She said, "Oh, I mean, it wasn't easy for her." She said, "Okay, if that's what you want to do." Uh, she also saw that I'm always almost willing to jump over the roof if I stay in the community. I'm just a little bit exaggerating. But I said, "Okay," so we did that, and we had for several years I've been running those classes of semicha programs. We had people like learning every day. Um, every Thursday we had the semicha program with more and more student join, and it's amazing. Um, the yeah. So Susie comments, right? I can tell what you said. That it's sad that I had such an experience, and other. I'll tell you what. The truth is that most rabbis have very, very difficult experiences with their communities. And I can tell you from my experience, I've seen three types of rabbis. There are the rabbis who, like me, refuse to bend to the establishment, and eventually, like, we can't live like that, and we walk away, or we suffer, as there are clashes, because what happens is that we want to work for the people, and the boards want to maintain the building and collect membership, and and write nice flyers that say we had 2,500 people attending our services, or whatever it is during the year. Then you have the rabbis who bend to the will of the community or the board and live in a way miserably because they can't be who they truly are. And I know some close friend of mine that I could say they erased part of their identity. And then there are the rabbis who own the shul, and for them it's either it's a business or a nonprofit, whatever, but they call the shots. So and then nobody could tell them what to do. Chabad is sort of a model like that, but it's really not easy to do that if you put your heart and soul in it. It's not easy. So anyway, um, I'm not, when I look back, um, I don't regret getting to know so many wonderful people, even in the communities that give me a lot of trouble as at the leadership position level. The people were wonderful always, and I connect, and I still maintain contacts with people from all of my communities around the world. So, um, as you know, maybe those who were maybe back then, almost about maybe a year and a half, like no more, about 10 months before the corona started, because before the whole thing, I wrote an article about starting a virtual minyan, and um, it was received with a mixed reaction, right? As they say, a lot of people says, "What? Who needs that? Why would anyone need a virtual minyan?" Even colleagues of mine who work in conservative synagogues say, "No, you can't do it." And obviously a lot of people cared about the establishment, and how the institutions are going uh, to stay together. One of the main arguments that they hurled against me back then was that if we do a virtual minyan, the physical communities are going to fall apart. And I argued that it's not going to happen because we want to be together physically. And if you look back at what happened in Israel, in Borough Park, and how people, even here, the anti-maskers, that people want to be together, sometimes at great risk, great cost. So about a year ago, you all know what happened. It was March 13th when the quarantine was declared here, almost like now, rounding a year. And we started the virtual minyan. And originally it was just part of it was the people, the veterans already were studying together. And then other people started connecting. Then there were we had like this influx of people who came only because they had to say Kaddish, and they would come in and out and in and out. Um, and slowly our community, in this sense of that Torah ve'ava, is not one crazy rabbi who sits and writes emails from his home in Maryland. I'm saying crazy for some people. I should tell you that one of my friends in Brooklyn still calls me the fake rabbi. Is a joke. Wait, no, is a we're very good friends. And why is that? Because when he first told his wife, "There's a rabbi who rules like this," she says, "No, no, you made him up because you want that. It's your fake rabbi. You invented him." So finally, when she realized that I'm real, we still stick with this, the fake rabbi. Uh, so what we have now, you should know, is amazing, really. First of all, like what we see in Kabbalat Shabbat. To me, Kabbalat Shabbat is a way like, the talent show of my grandfather. Everybody comes up and and people sing and share their talent. I started getting writings from people, different, people here in Florida, in outside America. Amazing talent that we have, and also not just talent, a passion for Judaism that is contagious. Um, so we're working now. I recruited Shai and Katriel to be the 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 leads on getting all the volunteers together. So, and what we want to do is start putting uh, all this amazing talent together. Hopefully, we'll be able to meet in the future physically, some of us. But meanwhile, we start developing. There are several things that we work on. Now I'm getting like to the tachlis of what is happening. One is that we are connected now to many communities around the world, and we're creating that system of affiliated communities of Torah ve'ava. We have Representative Israel from Peru. Eben is going to start one in Mandora. We just want to see how it works. Eben and Milka are going to have that. And Catriel is going to start one in Florida. We have people in France, in Brazil, and we want to have that map of the world on
I'm
the
not starting one in
website.
Canada.
Right? What?
I am not starting one in Canada.
You're not starting one in Canada. Okay. Uh, so no, but the idea is that it will be like Bet Sefarad, like this. On one end, it's the Sephardic mentality. Everybody's coming, everybody's welcome. Uh, and we have this spirit of Torah ve'ava. And it's not a hierarchy. I'm not going to tell anyone what to do in their synagogue or their community. The idea is that you run your communities with love and compassion and bring people in, and we just work together. And we're also now enlisting rabbis from around the world to be part of the bedin of Torah ve'ava that helps people go through conversions. We've been helping people through virtual conversions. We had conversions all around the world, and amazing. Again, it's so wow, it's so exciting, to see that. I the only thing that, on one hand, I'm so happy that we could do a virtual giul, that help people who were, didn't have access. The one thing that I'm missing, like, to be there and hug them and to say, wow, we're so happy with you, right? And because I see people crying on the other end, and I'm crying here, and say we need to cry together and get wipe each other tears of joy. This is what we need to do. And I think, and I'm going now, circling back to the first thing that came up in this conversation, which is the decision of the Supreme Court in Israel. And I want to say this, like I said, 22 years ago, I said this is going to happen. Eventually the power of the people, the voice of the people, is going to be heard, and they will recognize what we have. And now we are pulling all these people together. I'll just tell you one example like that happened, in the last couple of weeks. A couple that used to attend the classes, the semicha classes, Ariela and Ben, Yosef, you probably remember them, the Casey family, right? So they did Aliyah. They went to Tzfat in Israel, and they were not treated kindly. The rabbi was asking them, "Are you Jewish? Are you not? Or this and that?" The husband helped the rabbi with carpentry work in the synagogue, for a couple of months, and then the rabbi said, "Yeah, but you're not Jewish. You can't be part of my." Like they're driving them crazy. So they called me. What are we going to do? I said, "We're going to help you. Whatever. Call my friends in Yeruham, in the south of Israel. I have friends there. They call them. Next Shabbat, they're going to spend together. They're looking for a house for them, and that's the kind of things that we could do. We meet people, through this all over the world, and I want people every to be involved. We're going to put more and more information on the website, um, and Shai and Katril are going to pull together the volunteers. And Miriam is helping with. Miriam also joined us like a blessing from heaven. I have to tell you about Miriam, Miriam Elisheva. It was funny. Like 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was talking with Shai and Katriel about what we need to do, for the media, and they said, we need to have a couple of good videos to take bios of people and all that, but we need a professional. I said, let me send out an email to the community. Well, probably one of them is a professional, and then I go and I open my email. I get an email from Miriam, and she says, by the way, I could help if you need. After we spoke about learning and all that, if you need anything that has to do with like a professional video, I studied cinematography. Oh, good. This is like mishamai mamash from heaven. So we're going to do that. We're going to reach out to people, to really, just to say thank you for everything that was happening this year. People were joining. It's not easy, for any of us, though, being isolated. It's a blessing that we were able to connect, in that manner. And yes, we are going to have an annual convention, God willing, if depending on conditions, hopefully this summer or maybe after the high holidays, we'll see where exactly. And in that opportunity, I'm going to reiterate what I told Katriel this morning. You know that Katriel, has is wonderful, beautiful children, Gavriel and Binyamin, and Sun Kitov, joining in tefillah every day. So and Gavriel is about to turn 11. So I just want you to imagine, Be'ezrat Hashem, how we in our Armenian are going to celebrate Gavriel's bar mitzvah together, right? Uh, Hopefully, we'll do it in Israel. We'll do like take a whole section there. It will be the Torah V'Ava community. So that's what I wanted to. We started as a freewheeling conversation, and I ended up telling you all about Torah V'Ava, from the very very inside of it. And that's it. I'm really just glad that we are together like that. All of you are, for me, dear friends and family, and I want you to feel that way towards each other and keep growing that as a family, as a community. Amen. That's it.
Rabbi, what you're
Yes.
what you're doing is an answer to many, 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 many people's prayers.
Thank you.
You're right on time, but the prayers have been going out for years, and it's just like when I came across your stuff, I was like, I told somebody, this is what we've been waiting for. And
Thank you.
I I don't know. It's just Hashem at the right time. It's time.
Thank
So
you. Thank you.
thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you, Hashem. I feel like that Hashem connected all of us through hard times, and Be'ezrat Hashem, we're looking for better times, and I hope to get out of this stronger and more committed, not just to Judaism, to the world, to humanity, to one another. Be'ezrat Hashem.
I was
Okay.
I was afraid when you started it, when I came across it, that it's only for COVID times, and after COVID, when we can all meet again and everything, that you would stop your virtual community, and I was a little
Yeah.
worried about that. you know.
Yeah, the truth is, when I started the minyan, I said, okay, that's going to go for a couple of weeks. Then I said, it's going to go for a couple of months. And then for the first couple of months, it was, yeah, we had minyan together, and then I would give my classes. And then slowly, people started opening up. And then we do the Kabbalah Shabbat, and people sing. And then I said, are people interested to teach? And then, yeah, we will teach. And now, like I said, I think we're going to work on a publication by members of Torah Ve'ava. I would ask people to submit their writings. And another project that we have to work on, like, I don't know, Shai, what is the number 207 in the list of projects that we have, is to produce a CD, another CD, sorry, who does CDs today? Uh, Produce a video of Jewish music in Spanish, because we have, like, we have to do that. We have the talent. We have Israel, we have Eben, we have Deborah, we have Neri Montiel, who's not here today. We have Yoris, Portuguese, fine, we accept him and we'll let him in. We have all these amazing talent. We have Abraham
Me,
Perez,
kindness.
yeah. ¿Dónde está? Yeah. We have all these amazing talent, and Bezat Hashem, we're going to put it together, and it's necessary. It's really necessary. I don't think there's a lot of productions like that of Jewish music in Spanish with Spanish words, or in Portuguese for the Jewish world. We really need to do it, and that shows our global connection. Okay.
Ladino, Ladino,
La- Ladino, yeah. Okay, and then we'll
How
do a.
about teaching me some more words in
Wait,
Nebraska?
Shai, we will let you first master Gran Abrazo, and then we'll move on.
No, I say it very nice.
Let's move 2 words at a time. Okay, so let's get ready for Arvit. Thank you everyone for having the patience for listening. Stopping that.